Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I'm sure that you already have figured out from the title that this video is about my first contribution to open source. I've been planning for a long time to kind of contribute to open source, but now this is my first one. So in this video, I'll be covering the project that I will be contributing to. I'll be covering how you can actually, as a beginner in open source, find the issues in that particular project. How can you actually contribute it? How can you make the pull request? And how can you actually ask for help? If you're stuck at some issue, how can you actually join their communities of that project? And how can you ask for it? So I'm sure that you will love this video and learn something new today if you haven't worked with open source already. So let's move to actually the project that I've worked with. Okay, so let's start by going into the open source project that I will be contributing to. It's ToolJet. This is actually an internal tool building software. So you can actually, if you want to go into their website, find out what they actually do and not. I'm not going to discuss over here. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is how you can join their community. Okay? So in this, you can actually, if you go into the bottom down, you can find out there's a join Slack link. You can click on it and do the process and everything, and you will be able to join their community. This is the first. This is the first thing that everyone actually do, right? And then what you can do is actually go onto the top, click on this GitHub icon, go there, and then you will be directed to their GitHub page, right? Now here, what you have to do before going into issues, before going to everything, the first thing you have to do is set up everything locally, right? And for that, you have to actually go into this contribute section over here. And in this contribute section, you'll find all the steps you have to do first to set up your laptop, and then you will also find out how you have to actually make the pull request and what format you have to kind of follow. The first thing, if you are using Mac OS, you can actually go into this one. If you are using Ubuntu, or if you want to use Docker, you can do that too. So in Mac OS, you have to follow this kind of these steps, kind of step by step, and then when you follow, you have to also set the environment variable, right? I will also show that into the code itself, but for now, then you have to at the end kind of type these commands, right? So this command actually starts the backend server. This starts the front end server, and this I'm not sure what this plugin kind of does, but yeah, these are the major I think is server and front end. When you are done, you can actually go into this HTTP like 8080 localhost 8080, and then you can actually see that there, right? And then what we can actually see is here that how you have to actually follow this step to make some changes. First, they're saying that when you have to kind of make a pull request or something, or if you have working on some kind of bug or a feature, you have to make the repository like this: feature /176/chart and whatever. Like this is the issue number, and this could be the description of an issue, like a brief description of an issue, right? Test cases have changed APIs. Like these are saying what you have to do and what not, right? You can also go into this one, how to kind of contribute to this, right? Okay. So what I faced actually one issue and actually got the answer from their kind of Slack also. So what I was facing an issue when I started this whole thing, I was getting this error. So then I figured out, okay, it is not working by default in Mac M1, right? M1 Mac. So we have to install something called Browser. So to do that, I figured out, okay, I found there's a command, actually this one. You simply have to install it in your laptop, and then it will automatically work. I will share this command into the terminal, right? If you are looking forward to contribute to ToolJet also. Okay. Now the important part here is, maybe you're interested also, how to find an issue that you want to contribute to, right? The first thing you have to do is go into this issue section. And there, what you can do, there's something called a filter. I mean, this already by default, it is issue and open. So it will show you all the issues and only the open issues. So it's possible some issues are closed. Like you can see there are 200, like 2,265 issues already been closed. It is not going to show you that. Now, if you want to actually show maybe some that has actually labeled backend, so you can actually simply say, because you are a backend developer, you want to only contribute to backend, you can simply say backend. But then you can press enter. As you can see, there is no backend kind of issue right now. Maybe let's say front end, if there is any front end. Oh, there's no front end issue also. Let me then maybe these are front end backend issues, but I think they have not actually mentioned their name. Let's see, label bug, label and bug. Right, okay. So what you can see, that all the kind of issues which are labeled as bug. So this way, what you can do, and one more thing, actually, there is something called a good first issue. If you want to kind of uh, contribute to an issue which is kind of good for someone who is actually new to open source. Let's go into all the labels that we have over here, and there you can find good first issue. Okay, here we go. You can go into that. It is for newcomers. Now we can find all the good first issues that you can actually contribute. Right. Okay. So let's see the issue that I contributed. I think it was to do default value date. No, this is not the one. Okay, this is the issue that I contributed to. So they will normally, whenever someone creates an issue, it will give you a proper description of what actually the issue is, and they will also try to give some screenshots or videos. Now we can see what the issue in here is. I'm going to tell you from this one. So when you actually set up this your ToolJet locally, you will find that you can actually drag and drop some kind of entities. From the left, there are like buttons. There are a lot of the button groups and all that stuff. One of them actually is number input. Here, this is the number input. So what is happening is when he's actually dragging it here, and there are now in properties of this number input, like this like number field. One is default value, another is min value, another is max value. So what is happening is he's actually by default it's 99, but now what he's doing is actually typing 0 and 0 min value and max value 200. But now when he sets both of them and tries to set a value for this default value, something which is out of the range, right? 40,000 or whatever. Now it is still able to set it. So you can see we are able to set that particular value, right? So that was something that I have to fix. So normally what you have to do, you don't have to just start and jump into the this issue. You have to first see that if it is already assigned to someone and have they made some changes or not. So it was actually, I think, assigned to someone last week, but the comment from him was like Jan 15. It has been a lot of time. So I believe that he is not a contributor to this issue. The first thing I did is I actually commented that please assign this issue to me. And I started working on it. I'm sure that you understand now what this issue was about. Now the question is, how do you make the changes? Where do you make the changes and everything else? So let's go into how would we go on doing it. So the first thing that you have to do is clone this repository in your local computer. So what I did, this is what I have. I've cloned already that in my local computer, right? And the second thing we have to do is you have to first let's talk about this. So what I have to do is I have to create a branch in this format because this was a bug. So I created a bug and /497 whatever, right? This is the issue number and I have named it number index out of bound, right? So I then made some changes over there. This is the function I've created. I've created this valid component. So what I found out, let me actually go into there first. Well, let me set up it. Let me just pause it for 5 minutes. I will set up it locally and then I will show you. Okay, I've set up this locally and one point that go here into HTTP localhost, not HTTPS as mentioned there, right? Okay, so by default it's not going to be shown you this way. When you actually set it up, you have to select a particular kind of app or create some kind of an app. In that, it will show you actually this dashboard. Now, the problem was about this. So how do I go on solving? So initially, the point is I'm not a front-end developer. I do not have an idea of this. Was kind of somewhat I have to go into front-end code. So what I did, I have some idea. There's some kind of a plugin. This React plugin that gives me an idea that on which component I'm right now. So what I did is initially, because let me go do that first. So what I had to do initially is I have to go to this one because at the end of the day, just click on. When I click on this, it will actually show kind of open this right tab. So what I did, I actually first go there and I figured out this is an inspector tab. So all the things that we have, the properties that is related to inspector tab. So then I figured out, where I have to make the changes. I figured out the function. When I change this value, any of the inspector value, where is the thing that has been changed? So what happens, let's say the problem initially was if I change this min and max value, it doesn't matter. The default value will not change. So what I did is, let's say this default value is 100 and the max value I set is like it's fine. If I set the max value to 10, sorry, let's click outside here. So default value will be reset to the value 10. Similarly with the min field, if I change this min value to, let's say, let me maybe not change, let's put it 0, let's change it to 100 and let's change the min value to 20. So what will happen? This will automatically be changed to 20 and this also, like this is a different component. Now this component is, I think, number input. This component is inspector, right? There was already a logic. So why I did this, why I actually kind of, when I change the min value, it will be set to the default. Why I did this? Because I've seen there's already a logic similar onto this number input that was already being kind of merged into the actual code. So I figured out already there was a logic similar to this. So I did the same logic, similar logic into here too, right? And then what I did, I made the changes. So initially what I did is, let me go into the terminal that I have here. I made the changes into that. Checked out. It was bugged. It's okay. Let me see what the branch I have. Okay, let me copy this. Get checked out to this branch. Now you can okay. Here what I did is I made a comment. This is the last comment I made. Fix default value out of bound issue, and also mentioned there the issue number, right? And this was made by me. And I simply did is push upstream. Okay. One more thing. One more thing I have to tell you is we have to do two things. One is whenever we have to push something, because as I cloned this repository, I cloned it from the original ToolJet, but it doesn't allow me to push because I'm not authorized to push into this ToolJet. So normally what we do is we create a fork of this repository. So I simply click on this fork and it will create a fork for me in my actually own account. But I've already done that. So let me actually go into my here repositories. Let me go there. It will show that there's a ToolJet repository also in my GitHub, which is actually a fork from this ToolJet original repository. So what the idea is, you have to pull all the changes, the newest changes from this repository, that's the original, and you have to push the changes to your fork repository. So when you push your changes, you create a new branch, make some changes under this, and then push it, you will see here a new kind of a box, a pop-up box will appear where you will be able to create a merge request, like a pull request. Right, simply. So what I did when I actually push something into my repository here, if I say simply push upstream this into this branch, it will push it into my kind of repository instead of the original. Now the question here would arise, how do we do it? Because normally when I pull and push, it will be from the same repository. How do we make sure that we pull from a different repository and pull to a different repository? So that is actually defined by the remote. So normally you have heard about something called origin, right? So normally, let me actually, if we have to see the value of an origin, so what it will do whenever it push and pull, it will get a default value, which is origin. So if I get, I think it is remote, get URL origin. So we can see the origin value is this one. Origin is representing or pointing to the original ToolJet website. Now, normally when I pull, it will by default take the origin value. So when I actually pull, so what I have to do is that explicitly tell it go to the origin, or when I actually push, I have to explicitly tell it go to a different origin. How do I do it? Go to a different remote repository. How would I do it? I have to create a different variable similar to origin. So what I did, I actually say git remote, set URL upstream and the value of the repository of my local. So this is that one. And I click, it will set. I've already done it. So I'll simply not set it. I will say get URL upstream. And you can see this is pointing to my my ToolJet repository, my fork ToolJet repository. Now, if I have to push to this, I have to say git push upstream and then the branch. So now it will push to my repository, the fork repository. So this is how you have to do it. You have to pull from the original, push into your local repository. So this is what you have to do. And then you will have to create the merge request. Now, let's see, I've already created a merge request. Let's see, where is that? I think we have to go to the pull request here. Let's see, this is my request, like my merge request that I've created. Let's go into that. So normally what it do is you just have to first you create a pull request, but in that you have to also give them a description that what you have done to make them understand it a little properly that what you have done, right? Then there are a couple of things that is going on in there. There are some checks going on. I'm not sure what these checks are about, but there are some security checks. One of them is a license kind of CLA sign. So you have to also sign some CLA license, right? Contributor license agreement. You have to sign that. So you'll simply click on this one okay, I should have clicked. Okay, I've already done it. So it will sign up and agree. Okay, I've already done it. I'm not sure what it is asking me. So let's do it again. I think sign in. Okay, it might take some time. Okay, again, I've done it before that. It's still showing me pending. Maybe they have to do it manually. They have to kind of accept it manually or something. I'm not sure about that. But normally this is what we have to do. You have to simply give a description, and there are some checks going on out there, and that's it. Probably this is what you have to do. And now they can actually see your merge request. And now the simple thing is you have to wait for them to accept and maybe add some comments in there. Okay, let me first show you the code that I've written. Maybe that will give you an idea. Okay, the idea of what I've actually in the function, there was a parameter update function. I'm getting parameters, all of them. And what I've added there is a validate component. So now what we can do is we have a lot of different components over there. So I created a map. This is a function. It will actually return me another function, right? So it will. So what I did, I created a map there for every kind of what is this component we have. So for number input, this is the validator kind of function for this number input. Right. There could be other functions also, because I'm not sure if they're already existing validation functions. If they have, they'll probably maybe comment down there. Okay, maybe push this code in some other file and just import it over here. Right. I have did it in the inspector file itself. The validator number input function I've created it there. Right. It's possible they might want me to push all these validated functions in a particular folder or somewhere. But for now, I put it here. Maybe I will wait for them to commit first. Right. So the simple idea is I've created this high level function, a validate component, in which I will pass the component name, and on the basis of that, it will send me the validate function, like for that particular component. And then I will pass these properties over there in this function. This is all I have. Now, right now, as I already told you, in number input, we have 3 different properties. And not 3, there would normally we have min, max value, and the actual value itself. So I've made the changes, okay, on the basis of if we have a values being changed or the min values being changed, max values being changed, what we have to do, right? So if you want, you can also see the code. Maybe that is not the idea of this video, by the way. So this is, I think, how you can do it from the start, where to start, and how you can make a pull request. And then at the end, you have to simply wait for them to review it. They will maybe add some comments. You have to change it, push it again, and I think that is it. This is all you have to do, right? So I really hope that you kind of like the video and you want me to create videos similar to this. I'm actually not only planning to contribute to ToolJet. I have already other projects in mind too. A Requestify, I'm sure you will be, maybe if you're seeing it here, it's a Requestly. I'm not sure. Maybe not correctly pronounced it. There are other projects too. I'm actually looking at them too. I will be contributing to all of these projects. So definitely subscribe, like, and whatever to this video if you want to see more videos like this. Thanks.